We left it last time with our cases together. We have our case bolts now. I'm just going to oil the shank, not the thread. And we will pull these together. Right, the main bolts are £32 according to my workshop manual. Yep. I'll fit the small 11 millis in a minute. You don't need to see them going in, there's nothing special about that. Does our crank still turn? Yes. There we go. Good. Right, I'll fit the small fittings and then we'll come back and do a bit more. Then we have our outer rotor, which we'll just loosely oil, lightly oil I should say, like so. And then our inner rotor, she's got a squared off edge to fit on the end of the cam, like so. I'll just stick some petroleum jelly in there. Just to help it draw and also protect it while it's sitting. Pump cover screws. There we go. Right. Some pump on. Tighten up our strainer bolts. And then while we're here, we might as well do a crank oil seal. Which goes in there. So again, we'll lightly oil that, I think, to try and encourage it to move. Is that in? Yep, give that a gentle tap. Lovely. And our crank front seal. Just tap that. Flush as well. There's a stud missing, which I have replaced with a new one. And then these two unscrewed from the head. The threads are fine in there, but the nuts are really badly degraded and seized solid on the studs. Now, I didn't want to lose the studs because there's nothing wrong with them. So elsewhere on the channel, you'll find a method I use to remove studs. Well, now I'll just give you a quick update on what I use when I come across something like this, which is just a cheap Chinese knot splitter. Come in a set of 3. They're very inexpensive, but they actually work. And the few times you need them, they're well worth the money. This one's actually branded Draper, but I suspect it was probably made in the Far East anyway. Anyway, so the nut was stuck to there, so careful application in the vise. I used another couple of nuts to hold it, and then it is simply a matter of trapping the nut with that, winding it down 13 milli, and eventually your nut splits like that, and then I unwound it by hand. So thread needs a minor clean because I went a little bit too far, but it is minor. So I've saved these studs. So a bit of a thread lock in the head, and these will do another day. Right, I'll just give these threads a quick clean up. You should really use a thread chaser rather than a tap, but this is what I had to hand, so this is what I'm using. Right, quick bit of carb cleaner to make sure they're clean inside. Just to, I think they are, but just get rid of any grease. And then, just out of interest, the second nut split completely in half, which made removal even easier. Right, so there's our rescued stud, cleaned up, one of them. I'm just going to add some thread lock. And just nip it down. That'll do. Remove the excess. And then I shall leave that overnight. Well, I'll do the other one and leave that overnight. By which time that will be solidly in the head, which is what we want. Right, let's move on. Unlike the head I did on the 602 rebuild, have a look on the channel if you've not seen that. I'm just going to use the seals that came with the kit, which is a rubber one for the inlet and a PTFE one for the exhaust. Now the rubber one shouldn't be a problem. In theory, just put a merest smear of oil on there just to help it on its way. And on there. Not a lot. Now there is a special tool to do this, which I don't possess. But the PTFE ones, I've got a clear shoulder, and that quarter inch 11 milli just fits on the shoulder. So if we're lucky, and I very rarely am, but if we're lucky, a little tap using that should seat the bow stem also, like so. Are we down? Yes, we are. No, we're not. Try that again. I thought we were fully down, but we're not. There we are now. And the rubber one, hopefully, should just push on. and it won't, so I'm going to have to find something for that as well. It looks like that'll do that one as well, so I thought that would push on, but it won't. Right. Yep, that's down as well. Okay. So, the rubber one shouldn't be a problem getting the valve in. No, that's fine. But the PTFE one sometimes can. So, I think the safest thing is to lube it up and put it in now. So let's find the assembly lube, and we shall lube the stem, because we don't know how long this is going to be sitting, and hopefully it will go through. Yes, that's okay. Sometimes they can be a bit stiff. Oh, in fact it's not okay. It's done precisely what I didn't want it to do. Damn. Okay. Right, that was awkward. So I supported the valve stem oil seal with another deep socket that the valve would go into, and then tapped it through, which is irritating, but there you go. It serves me right for not using the better quality valve stem oil seals, doesn't it? So anyway, we will lube up our inlet, which should just push through dead easy, because it's going through a rubber one, which it does. Right. So we need a valve seat. I've checked the oil hole is free. Spring, and then compress it and fit our collets. I'm not going to show you that because, as I mentioned when I took it apart, the valve spring compressor isn't the right size for this job. So I have to move around a lot whilst using a socket to support the valve. So I'll just do that and bring you back when they're fitted. Right, I brought it back just to show you again the setup I had to use. This is too big. There's a socket round the back on the head of the valve. I'm now going to put the collets in. Fiddly little things. Right, this is a bit awkward. Second collet's in, but the hole it's got to fit through is quite small, and this has got a bit of movement because of the socket. So I'm hoping this works. Yes. Good. I was a bit worried there because that's slightly more awkward than the 602s, I think. Or it might just be one of those days, but anyway. Yep. Okie dokie, I'll do the inlet now and bring you back when they're in for the rockers. But that's good. Right. Our rockers we tested earlier, we know there's no play in them. So, spring washer, sleeve. So they should sit like that on top of our valve. Like so. And then we have our two pillar bolts. Which requires our special tool again. Now, I can't remember the torque setting off the top of my head. I'll put it up. I'm just going to nip them down for now and then I'll torque them up later. And I'll put the actual torque setting on the video. Right. Check they're still free to move. That's it. All ready to go, cleaned up, sorted, that can be fitted. I won't show you the other head because it will be exactly the same as that one. Barrels have been honed. There's the odd little shadow on them where the piston sat before, but perfectly usable. There's no gouges or anything, there's no wear lip. Pistons are clean, all the grooves have been cleaned out. I've got a new set of rings. Which handily come marked as ring 1, 2 and 3, so you can't go wrong. So that's our large O-ring. It does not mark top. However, there is markings for standard, so I'm assuming they will fit facing upwards. So we need to get them on. I think I'll take this one from the bottom. The gap's just a bit big for these pliers. Yeah. Ring 2 also marked standard on top, so they can go upright. And then ring 3. Yeah, there. Not very clear, but there you go. Right. So if we stagger them at 120 degrees, and that's that, yeah. So that's 120 degrees. And we give that a dose of oil liberally. And we give the outside of the rings check they're still at 120, which they are. So this is the right hand barrel, so forward is in that direction. Some light. Right, there's 2 in. Just this large big one. I wish I had a piston ring compressor this size. Life would be so much easier. There we are. Wow, they're tight. But that's good. So our arrow's pointing that way. 2 top studs, bottom stud, that's right. Good. Right now, I'd like to show you the barrels going on in this video. Some idiot forgot to order circlips, so I can't. So we'll finish off this one by a few other bits and pieces around the engine. And that is, we need a gallery plug to go in there. Which I think is 17 milli. is. So that's that. And then we had our oil pressure release in this side, which is a ball, which I will oil very slightly on a spring. And then our cap. Also should be 17 milli, which it is. Good. The oil cooler we'll have to wait till next time. I'm waiting for the circlips. That's pretty much all I can do today, really. Although we could look at the oil pump. We could look at the petrol pump, because it's the old separate diaphragm type, and I might as well see if I can get a diaphragm. So let's look inside. Got 8 screws. We'll give it a gentle bump. I don't want to prise it too hard in case I damage those flanges. Let's try gentle persuasion. Just excuse me a minute, I'll go and put this under vice. Right, I managed to just get on the edge under there, just behind the diaphragm. So there we go. That doesn't look very nice, does it?